What's up, you guys? This has been a long awaited video, and it is my how to make a full wig step by step. So first, I just want to show you guys some of the units that I've made using this exact same technique. So it's super easy. If I can do it, you can do it, trust me. So first, let's go through the items that you'll need to make a full wig. The first is nylon weaving thread. I like using this because it's a lot more durable to me, and it also makes weaving the needle or threading the needle a lot easier. Next, you need some T-pins just to make the process easier by holding the hair in place. Also, you're going to need a curved needle, and then lastly, a weaving cap. I like using dome caps. It's all up to you. So starting out by taking the closure, I like applying it first just because I feel like this is the most important step. If the closure does not lay down flat, then they're definitely going to know that this is a wig and we're trying to avoid that look. So I go ahead and measure the space and just apply it with my T-pins to keep it in place as I'm threading it. So I just use about 3 or 4 T-pins. You can choose however many you're comfortable with, but you want to make sure that it's laying completely flat on the dome cap. Then just to get the hair out of the way, I use like a little elastic band just to put it all up at the top. Now, this is where you want to make sure you are watching carefully. I'm going to try to explain this as simple as I can, but basically you just want to thread it as close to the very end of the closure as possible. And I like tying a knot on the very first one and then continuing on after that. So the technique is kind of like looping it a little bit as you're going, just to make sure it's as secure as possible. So as you can see, I have the thread or the excess thread up at the top where I'm holding it with my left hand. And then when I'm threading the needle, I'm going like an underneath motion as opposed to over top, and then looping it. Now, I find that this was easier for me, like the hand placement, but you can decide whichever hand placement is more comfortable for you, because pretty much the pattern is just redundant. You're going to be doing this over and over and over again. Now, I like doing one side of the closure first and then switching to the other side as opposed to just continuously threading it all the way around in like a U shape, because sometimes you can get bulging if you don't do each side first and then do the back last. So I do all of that. I thread it all the way down and making sure I'm doing my loops, and right here at the end where I'm getting ready to cut it, I loop it 2 more times just to make sure it's secure. Cut off some of the excess string and then go in again, tying like 2 or 3 knots to make sure that the thread is not going to come loose at all, and then cut off the excess. So as you can see here, you may be able to see the pattern a little bit, and it's very, very secure. So I'm just going to repeat all of that on the other side, as I said, and kind of speeding it up here for you guys because it's just redundant. Okay, and now here we are at the very back of it, and I just continue on from that side, and it's the exact same pattern over and over again. And right when you get to the end, as you're going to watch here, I loop it 1 time as I do all of the other threading, and then I do 2 more loops just to make it secure. Cut off the excess and then do like 2 or 3 knots here before I complete the rest of the closure. And then lastly, I'm going to just cut off all of the excess right there because you don't want it showing too much. And that's it for the closure part. So it's very, very secure as I'm showing you here. Okay, now moving on to the bundles. I normally like to start with my longest bundle at the bottom because it gives it kind of like a subtle layering look, but you can do whichever you prefer. You can start with the shortest if you want. And then using the T-pins, I just secure it to it how much I want it to go, kind of like from ear to ear in the back area. And then going through the bundle, you want to go through the weft with your needle first, and then also make sure you're not going through the elastic band on the cap, because you will find that at the end it won't stretch. So keep in mind that. And then we're using the exact same technique for threading it that we use on the closure. So you want to loop it twice at the very beginning, and then from then on just do the whole like looping it one time method, as you can see here, and it's a little bit clearer for you to see how I like the hand placements and things like that, where I hold up the excess thread with my left hand and then do sort of like a looping motion. And you can also see what it looks like as the hair is being threaded. You want it to be a consistent pattern, and you just continue on looping it, or loop, swoop, pull, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and when I get to the end of how much I want it to be, I go through the weft one more time to secure it, and making sure that I do not pick up that elastic band with this needle, because that is like crucial. I made that mistake like the first time I made a wig. And then as you see here, I'm also like looping it twice to make sure that it's very, very secure. And now this is a step that I take too. Some people choose to cut their wefts each time they get ready to do a new row. I just do the fold over method for mine, because I might want to use this hair at a different time. So also when I start a new row, I go through the weft one more time and then also do a double loop. Like, we're making sure these bundles are not going to be falling off. And then after doing that very first one, I then go underneath the wefts and just continue threading, very, very repetitive, over and over again, which is why I sped it up here. At this point, you should have the technique like down pat. So I'm just continuing to do this over and over and over again. And normally I do this with the very first bundle, and I keep it where it's single. So I'm just going to show you guys, the techniques a few more times before we go on to the next step. Okay, you guys, now starting with the second bundle, we're going to be doubling these wefts. So just as we did with the very first bundle, we go through the weft with our needle first, and then we tie a little loop at the end to make sure that it's nice and secure, and then we go around the wefts for the rest of it. So it's just the exact same step that we've been taking over and over again, except this time we're doubling the wefts. Okay, now when you get to the very top, I think I did single wefts for the third bundle, and I just went all the way to the top and left about an inch of space. And this is where we want to finish off our wig by adding this last bundle, or the last part of this third bundle, to the closure itself, because you don't want that gap between the two of them. So you want to make sure that you're sewing this weft onto the closure, so just right at the very end of it. And you're going to be using the exact same technique that we've been using for all of the bundles with your looping and all of that, to make sure that it's very, very secure, and just continue on from there. Now when you get to the very end of it, where it meets up with the front of the closure on the other side, you want to go through the weft, needle through the weft this time, and then do 2 loops. And once you cut off the excess thread, you do 3 more knots to make sure it's very secure. Then cut off the excess, and then right here you want to cut off the extra bundle that you did not use. And so this is pretty much it. You don't see where the closure begins or ends at this point. Now here, this is the very last step, and you want to cut the very inner part of your dome cap or weaving cap, whatever netted cap that you have, and just cut that part off, because you want your lace to be able to show when you put the wig on. And you want to be very careful with that step, because you don't want to cut any of the threading that you've already done. And then this is pretty much what the wig looks like unstyled and all of that jazz. Congratulations, you guys, you've made it to the end of this tutorial. This is the finished product after I've cut and styled the unit. If you guys are interested in seeing how I go about layering and flat iron curling most of my units, then definitely give this video a thumbs up and comment below. Also, if you haven't been watching my videos lately, you wouldn't know that I am now selling wigs. So if you guys are interested in making a purchase, check the description box below for all of the details. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was very helpful to you. If it was, give it a thumbs up. And also, if you are not a subscriber, then go ahead and click that subscribe button. And until next time, I will see all of you beauties later.